Yeah. 4 pennies, well, that'd be 16 pennies, right? Because you got to put 4 pennies on each corner of a crossroad on Monday and ask Elegbar, or Legbar, that's Elegbar in Yoruba, Legbar in Vodun, and you ask them for financial lead. Financial lead. Huh? You spell it Elegbar for him.
E-L-E-G-B-A.
Yeah, E-L-E, yeah, that's and ask them that and stuff. And that usually work. My brother used to do these things, and he would go and try to get these loans and stuff, and he, you know, the loan don't be no more than like $200, and he say, go to the people and say, I want $5,000, and the woman say, I can't give you that. But then she'll end up giving him $1,000 for something that I think something like an old beat up piece of car that was only $200 he was supposed to get back. She gave him like $2,000. So he used to work them to death. They stopped working when that's all you about. That's when they stopped working. You just doing rituals to get money. You don't give a damn about nothing, and you start doing rituals like that. That's when they stop working for you. What's that?
In reference to the rituals to Oshun, it always helps if you do things on at the proper time. So Oshun's day is Friday.
Right. So that means that is true. And see, the sister, the woman in the Vodun priestess might have gave that, but the sister, when she called me, she didn't know that. I got to call her back because that is right. Now, unless you're dealing with Obatala, everybody, and even him, and even he is what, Tuesday?
No, Obatala like every day.
That's every day. Not unless you're dealing with Obatala, which is every day.
There's a difference just in the tradition of Europe, but they got a 4-day week, and each Orisha has a day, and then some of them double up, like Oshun and Ifa is the same day. So the difference depending on where, you know, what system you're under.
Right.
Fridays is Oshun's day pretty much everywhere.
Right, and so I would suggest to do that Oshun ritual on Friday, and Legbar is Monday. Monday. So
Our number is 5.
numbers.
At 5 o'clock on Friday.
So you do it at 5 o'clock on Friday. Well, you know, or either you get in the process of writing your stuff out. You could start it at 5 o'clock on Friday, or writing your stuff out too. You see what I'm saying? All that too and all. But then again, on the other hand, that's what I said in the earlier the lecture, is we got to start going back and doing the type of stuff that's going to help us out with the Orishas. You see what I'm saying? Because each person has got at least 4 Orishas around them, helping them the whole time. And so it's your job to try to find out what Orishas is around you, and what Orishas is around you, and pay homage to them, or either just to recognize that they are there around you. You see what I'm saying? But they some trick a bunch of niggas now. I'm telling you.
I'm available for readings, so if they want to get into that.
Huh?
I'm available for readings if they want to get into
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Wednesday, right here.
Yeah. Also, there's a good book called the Sufi Book of Healing, which is an excellent book to try to work with the 99 attributes of Allah or whatever. See, I believe that in actuality, you know, some people, they love Islam. That is, and some people love this. It's not a matter to say that they should abandon it. They should try to use the esoteric side of their particular part. So what happens is, most of the time, those people, because they love that, is because that in their previous lives, they probably was in those particular schools. So they somehow spiritually are drawn towards that. Some people are spiritually drawn towards the Hebrew thing. That means that you need to deal with the Kabbalah and more Hebrew things. Some people are spiritually drawn towards the Islamic thing. That means that you need to search for Sufism. Christianity, since it's a derivative of both Hebrew and Gnosticism, you need to search for the Gnosticism, as well as the Hebrew thing can also deal with that too. Some people are drawn towards the ancient Egyptian thing, which you need to search towards that type of thing. But on the other hand, it's good all the time to embrace all of it, because you don't want to be sectarian in your mind and stuff, because that's what's messing us up now. It's so many groups. You see what I'm saying? And with our mind, we always try to be superior over other groups when everything is in fragments. So I'm a person to say that in actuality, we need to penetrate some of the Sufi teachings, which is a lot of stuff now, but some of the stuff that really needs to be studied now is a lot of Sufism, to the simple fact that it's still a discipline that a lot of people haven't tapped in. Some people get the Sufi Book of Healing. I always tell people to get the People of the Secret there. It's a very scholarly book, but to understand more of the Sufi and mysticism is the People of the Secret, which is actually talking about the Moors. Suf mean woolly-haired one was another name for the Moors. So I tell them to get the Sufi. I tell them to get the Sufi ism, as well as getting the Way of the Sufi and the Way of the Sufi and a couple other books. One thing about some Sufi books, they give you spiritual teachings, but they don't give you a lot about the discipline. But each person, whatever discipline you are drawn towards, that's the one. So sometimes you like Christianity, that means that you just got to search for the mystics in Christianity. You see what I'm saying? What's that, brother?
Was there any significance to this eclipse?
Well, it's the last eclipse of they said the last eclipse of the millennium. I would say that it was very significant inwardly than it was outwardly. I think it represents a certain energy, not only on the planet, but a certain energy that is now we have available to us to polarize within us. You see, if you go and read any of these books, even when you read the Bible, because like I said, now I'm not telling you to abandon the Bible, because I just tell you to just get the first 4 Gospels also too, and that way you can be done with the stuff that even though those people who wrote those were doggone masters, Paul was a doggone Gnostic priest. You see what I'm saying? And I would say also, to look at what stages. In every stage, they got a certain stage that not only did they say the world take, but the body takes. Your Revelation is nothing but a book of alchemy. That's what it is. It's a book of alchemy. The red dragon, the green dragon, the white horse, and all that is stuff that's going on inside of your body also. So I would suggest what stages. So basically, if it was the final moon before the millennium, then that means we're talking about a final phase in history. As right now, we got one thing you had. Now, what are the odds of this? We know that the white buffalo was born on the Indian reservation in 1994. What are the odds? And that was a 1 out of a million chance. Well, it was a 1 out of a 3 million chance that a second one would be born, and a second one was born this year, another white buffalo, which even transcended the Indian scriptures that they didn't even count on. You see what I'm saying? That they didn't even count on, which also gives rise to there's 2 messiahs in the world. People don't know that Egypt had 2 messiahs. They had Heru and they had Mayat. Mayat is a form of the Messiah too. It's the feminine half. That's why you get the word Horus Marku or Har Marku, which is Heru, Mayat, and Ku, which means pyramid, and it means word made truth. Also, you get Malkuth. Malkuth, which is the end of the Kabbalah, which is the earth part, is called a kingdom. It's called a fallen daughter. It's called a fallen daughter. And it's Malkuth, which is a form of Maku, Heru Maku, or Horus Maku, word made truth. And Ku means pyramid, so it's talking about apex. And so the fallen daughter and a form of the Messiah of this in this is both male and female. You get the word in Samaria, you get the word Tiamat. That's Tiamat, land of Mayat, Tiamat, which is also talking about the Great Mother, but the Great Mother will be in the end. Land of Mayat, Tiamat. You get in Islam, you get the Messiah, which is also feminine, because you get the word Mahdi. It's Mahdi, which is Mayat-di. Mahdi is a form of Mayat, which is the Messiah in Islam. You see, which is a Messiah in Islam. So you get that particular part. So give me some questions. What's that? And then this.
I wanted to talk to you about studying the different systems.
Uh-huh.
Do you think it's better to stick with a certain system? Like I was introduced to the Egypt stuff.
At this particular time, there's no such thing. You always fall short of sticking with one system. I'll tell you why. Because those systems originated at first was mystery systems in school with complete comprehensive systems. Since the mystery system is closed down, you have a fragment. And so now the fragment is what you can't pick up on one, you pick up on the other. So the thing about the knowledge is the knowledge didn't start from different areas all over the world. It was one landmass, and it was different schools that was teaching the same thing. So I would say that the Orishas is the Egyptian system, as well as the Egyptian is the Orisha system. The Kabbalistics is all of that particular stuff, because we got the Kabbalah on the walls of Egypt. I got a picture of that particular Kabbalah with the Pharaoh holding it up. So I would always say that right now, everything is so much in fragments till you'll fall short just going in one discipline. At first, you know, I used to study the Egyptian, and I wouldn't look at nothing Hebrew. I wouldn't look at nothing. I say, this is it. But then I found out that that's fragment too, because Egypt wasn't just this one little discipline with the Book of the Dead and the gods. It was a bad system. You see what I'm saying? So, first of all, I want to say this. There's certain sciences that we used to study, and at certain time those sciences stopped. They had a break in them based on people coming in and tearing down the priesthood. One way, so the energy on those sciences, you can get a certain amount of knowledge, but the energy, if you want to get to the energy side, I would suggest to add Yoruba and Vodun in that particular system, because those systems didn't never stop. Those systems, Vodun and Yoruba is the only system on the planet that you can account from way back in Atlantis that didn't have a stop up until this day. That's why the Orishas work. You see what I'm saying? And I'm going to bear witness to that, because like I say, I healed my niece's heart. She had a half a heart on Friday. I did an Obatala ritual that Friday night, and Monday she had a whole heart when he went to Philadelphia, but the doctor killed her anyway. You see, the doctors killed him anyway. So what
like where I'm coming from, it's like it stunts my growth when I try to go into other things, and instead of studying this and getting out into it deep and learning a lot about one system, learning a little about a lot of systems, you're saying after a while it all starts coming together, and
yeah,
the whole picture starts coming together.
It will come together. And in actuality, I see what you're saying, and in actuality what's going to happen is this. If you're inclined to do one thing right now, you should do that thing until the energy runs out. You see what I'm saying? But don't think that you're doing it because this is the only thing there is to be. What's that you were to say? Oh, okay. So what I'm trying to say is, if the spirit, you got to let the spirit lead you. If the spirit got you into something right now, they're telling you that you got to play it out. It's got to run its course. I'm not saying that you don't supposed to do things, but on the other hand, in doing that, you're supposed to familiarize yourself with other systems also. And then when it comes to the point where as you up against a wall, then you understand that this is not the end all and be all of things. The reason why I have gone very far in such a small amount of time at such a young age compared to most people is because I was not sectarian in my ways. I was only sectarian to a certain amount of time, and I found out that in actuality, the truth, it ain't Egypt either, because you got to consider Atlantis, Lemuria. In Egypt was called Cam, that meant black land. So what are we talking about? So we're talking about, and all of this particular stuff, the Tarot came out of Atlantis, the Kabbalah came out of Atlantis, the Keys of Solomon came out of Atlantis, the Nettas came out of Atlantis, and all of these particular things. Now, you can familiarize yourself with something, and based on the base, now, I can agree with you on one thing. If you got a firm foundation on one discipline, when you go study the other disciplines, you can get what they're saying because you have studied the other discipline to get a firm foundation. You see, so it's best to be rooted in one type of thing also, too, and that is good, too. Take, for instance, also, I would say that the best thing we did at first when we studied the Afrocentricity, it was best to study that first before I got into the metaphysics, because when I got into the metaphysics, if I didn't have an Afrocentric background and understanding the history and all that was black, when I got in there, these white people will make you believe that this is a whole other discipline, and it ain't got nothing to do with black or white, and this thing came from some other place that didn't have nothing. But I knew that. I can tell. You see what I'm saying? So I can tell. So when I go in some stuff, so some white Arab telling me that Islam is this, and it started from this, and it started from basic that, I know better than that. You understand what I'm saying? I understand it's a fundamental black thing from the get-go. You understand what I'm saying? They're telling you it's a black thing when they tell you his father was black, so what the hell that make him but a nigger? And Bilal is black, which was not a slave. The doggone white Arabs make him a slave, but Bilal was his damn teacher. You see what I'm saying? So it's best to be rooted in it's best to be rooted in the Afrocentric form, because there's nothing that came outside of black people. Because guess what? All that is black. There is no such thing as no other knowledge but black knowledge. You see what I'm saying? This sister here, then you. Okay.
Two questions. J-U-N-G, what does that mean? And secondly, you had mentioned, I know I'm from Pennsylvania, kind of caught my attention. You had mentioned something to the fact that the women in the knowledge or consciousness versus the men in the consciousness are clashing or something. I don't understand what you're
Okay, Jung is just a psychiatrist that learned how to cure these crazy psychotic white people by taking this Gnostic scripts and Egypt and all of that stuff and studying alchemy and came up with this. And before he died, he said, hey, yes, he told them white people straight up, everything is about them niggas that you oppressing.
So that's a person.
This is a person, Jung. He was a great and it's like that. What I meant was I was talking about walk-ins. You're going to find out when you go into consciousness, you're going to have all kinds of obstacles that's going to be in your way. One of the obstacles is they can get through you through your mate if your mate is not conscious. And it doesn't have to do with male or female. It just has something to do with the one that conscious you, that can get through you. And it's best to somehow, in one kind of way, is to get your person to a certain level. If your person rebels against it to the point where as it is hindering you, there's one thing to do. It's called leaving their asses. Basically, kick them to the curb.
Okay, so you find a big conscious group in Philly?
Yeah, there's some sisters called the Sisters of Sekhmet that is a real conscious group that is very conscious and all. But it's Philly. It's just like any other place. You have the ones that are, and then you have the masses that's not. But there's a group that they call the Sisters of Sekhmet that's they're really doing some real good stuff and all. You see, also too. They take stuff and run with it and all this kind of thing. You, then you. What's that?
Okay, my question is this. One lecture you said something about we should stop praying and doing all the praying because since we are God, we should just think it into existence and that kind of thing. And what I guess what I want to know is in Santeria and the Yoruba, when you talk to the Orishas, you got to pray and petition them and be humble, come to them in humble prayer. So, I guess what I'm wondering is, when we talk to the Orishas, do you demand or do you
let's put it this way. Okay, there's two things going on here. People don't know that there's a bit of history in Santeria or Yoruba that you see. There's two kinds of Yoruba. There's the ancient mystery system of Ife. Then you would have the fragmented religion that's passed down where the people, based on the influence of Islam and Christianity, started using the deities to worship them. I'm telling you what the deities came to me themselves and say, we don't want nobody worshiping them. And all I'm saying is this: it's a different way that I deal with the Orishas than you. If you go, it's a trickster. That's what the whole reason with the trickster is. They talking about psychology when you read Elegba. If you are on the level that you are worshiping them, then that's what you better do. But when you get to the security that you are God too, then that don't work for you no more. And so with me, I can't come with them on the same level that most people that's in the newfound religion come. It don't work for me. The only time I come with them is I got to come with them just like I'm talking to you. I got to come with them on the Flatbush homeboy style, cutthroat style, or otherwise they don't. Now why is that? That's based on my initiation. They say I'm supposed to know better. You see what I'm saying? And the reason why a lot of stuff is in static is the reason why the actual, okay, I'm going to say this, I just want to say this while it's on my mind. It's the reason why a lot of the Nigerians and the Haitians have not been able to transform this thing on an apocalyptic level. Is because throughout the years it has become a religion with ceremonial practices. Also, it is the most advanced on the planet. You understand what I'm saying? But there's two systems. And it's two systems. So now, my thing is in that ritual, I ain't gonna give them no more than a damn libation. You understand? So I ain't praying to them, none of that stuff. I might put a few cuss words up in there to dilute that. And I'm telling you how they deal with me. And it just depends on what level you on. I wouldn't suggest that if a level, because most people are not even at the understanding. And it would be a form of arrogance for you to come in and treat somebody some damn way and you new to some shit. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, I know. I'm not in the way. I'm not in the way, but in the other way, I'm also saying that also too, I'm Oshun.
But I'm saying to you, they have personalities just like
I know they have, yeah.
You can talk to Shango like that, because he's a warrior.
Right.
You can talk to a moon like that, because he's a warrior. You might
Right.
be talking to she like that, but soon, then it's not her
I understand that, and I know what you're saying, and I'm not really saying no disrespect, because we're talking about a whole nother concept. Huh? Huh? No. I'm telling you. See, it's on another concept on what I'm dealing with. I'm telling you that, listen, I know for a fact, you dealing with these outside of yourself, it's a different thing. I wouldn't say that based on the what you call it. I wouldn't say that based on I wouldn't say that based on you dealing with a certain amount of things. And I would say that it should be a certain amount of humility. But what I'm saying is, I'm telling you how they come to me, and I'm telling you how they dealt with me, and they told me what to do. I'm telling you what I'm telling you what they come to me and tell me what to do. I'm saying, ain't nobody been more humble than me. My God, you talk about humility. My God, I've given up my whole life for it, but I'm telling you, at a certain level, they told me, look, man, you either with us and be one of us, or whatever the whole deal is. That's what they told me.
I know what you're saying.
Right.
None of them are valued. They ain't no shoppers.
That's right.
But you don't walk up and be like, bitch, oh, soon I
No, I'm not. No, I'm not saying that. No, let me make it clear. I'm telling this here. This is how I deal with them. Let me make this clear to you how I deal with them. I have said this several times. I deal with them the same way I deal with my family members. You understand where I'm coming from? So that's the way I deal with them. I don't deal with them as any type of entity above me or outside of me. You see what I'm saying? Outside of me. Because I'm going to tell you the truth, my spirit is just as old as theirs. That's just the way it is. You see what I'm saying? It's just as old as theirs. You see? So I'm not telling you to what you call it. I'm telling you basically what they told me. They wanted me to deal with them on the level. And you have to get to that level because they was through with me on the other realm. Through with me. I can get none of that stuff to work no more. They say, you can't, it ain't about that. And once you obtain a certain amount of gnosis, you are one with those gods. You see, you are one with those type of gods. So therefore, I cannot be apart from them because I am them, because we are as, you see what I'm saying? Like that also. So that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about trying to get to a certain level of God. See, you think like a God, that's one thing. Thinking like a human is a whole other thing. And all the type thing. So late in the game, it's a form of thinking like gods. Now, I say this thing too. You got people that's been over there, and it's been a religion for hundreds of years now. That's because they lost the gnosis that at one time it was a system to raise up to the Godhead. You see, to raise up to the Godhead. And that's what I'm talking about. You know, because there is no such thing. Because my thing is I am the great mother. You see the concept I'm talking about? When you're talking about chaos is, what I'm saying about chaos is, when you're dealing with chaos, there cannot be no separation because there cannot be ultimately it cannot be a definition. We talk in define in terms to define the indefinable. To define the indefinable. And I understand this stuff, what you're saying about the respect on the what you call it type thing. But take for instance and all, and naturally, case in point, doing what I do, like I told a brother to do a vote-on ritual, and the brother wasn't right, so they came to him and whipped up on his behind because the brother was, I believe the brother was an agent too, so for a whole week they made him go crazy. This is indefinable, but no way is nothing in this picture separate from the other thing. And to deal with something outside of your own self is to deal with a God inferior than your own self. That's the first thing in the doggone message to the black man. And I understand the humility part based on ego. And I think it's kind of premature for me to tell certain people that they need to do certain things and stuff if you hadn't gotten to that particular level. Yeah, exactly. And it's on one level. But see, then again, I'm explaining that because I have a basic understanding of the type of thing. It's just like when I was talking to Melchizedek. I said, "You a damn woman, ain't you?" And he said, "I like you. You got it." You see what I'm saying? But it's a whole other concept. You see what I'm saying? But I knew what was going down. I said, "You're a woman, ain't you?" I could have said, "You a man too," and he would have probably said, "Yeah, too." But the concept of the spiritual, he said, "I like you." So it's a certain amount of knowledge and understanding, I would say. I wouldn't say do a certain amount of thing if you didn't have a certain amount of knowledge and understanding. And I will say that much. There is certain amount of bypass and certain amount of things based on knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. But I do know I have been a practitioner of everything in the book. I have tried it. I have tried everything in the world in one night. I went through all of them. And I tell you to God, I tell you, all the stuff, and the same crackers up in New York, they did the same thing, and they burnt down the house, and they exploded. Off the same deities. Crackers say, oh, I did that, man, and shoot, we got people that caught on fire up in here dealing with it. I said, well, they ain't did nothing, but then again, on the other hand, it depends on what level we on. What level we on. This sister here in you, what's that? Yeah.
The boot camp put BCC, and they have separate little groups from that one branch.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is Health and Shelter, and their new album is called Nocturnal.
Mm-hmm.
They were on that city talking about how they do all of their work at night because that's when their creativity is at its highest. They do their Disney music.
Yeah.
Anything they do is at night, and on their album they rap about the Illuminati.
That's good. That's good. You know, we get a group of them that come out and all, and some of them are able to stay, but they end up not being able to sell as much. It's like Paris. He was a disaster in the financial thing because he was talking good stuff. KRS-One was one of the best ones that did what he did and was able to get away with it for a short time, but even he don't sell now. But like Public Enemy, past the second album, they had to really buck dance and throw Professor Griff to the dogs and stuff just to sell one more album after that that didn't do that good. You see what I'm saying? So they virtually sold out big time. You see what I'm saying? And all, sold out big time and all. Well, Arrested Development, they said that one thing about, you know, they were good and all, but that thing wasn't so much buck dance with the white man as it was ego problems. They said the brother's speech was, he got the big head on the second album, and so he had internal strife with the actual band members having to leave and all that kind of thing too, also too. And that's one thing about the ego also. So that's one thing that happened. It was more so of ego problems also too, and all. And so some of them and all, but see now, that can't happen with a lot of rap because, see, back when Public Enemy and X-Clan, their stuff, the rapping style is you can turn on the record and actually hear what they're saying. But now with Goody Mob and all them there, you can't see the rap style now. You can't understand what nobody's saying no way. It's in such a chaotic art form, which is a chaos, which is this now, which is a form, it's looking like this now, which is a form of the cosmos. It's in such a chaotic art form until now the white man came to pick it because it's going to that particular level. It's actually another language. It's literally another language. You see what I'm saying? And Outkast and that whole thing, what they did and all. And so now, you know, and especially with the project type language, it's a whole nother realm and a whole nother language now. So the white man will never be able to catch hold of this particular stuff. You see what I'm saying? Or like Parrish would say, the devil made me do it. He showed a white man. So it was another style of rap that they could come in. So now it's transformed. It's just now, but it's transformed now until it's a limited amount of groups. So now you got to get to the point where it becomes another fashion till you get enough groups doing it. You see what I'm saying? Enough groups doing it. But even your guy, what's his name? The guy that's producing Biggie Smalls is saying their next album, they're not going to do so much of champagne and all this kind of stuff here. And they're going to do so much of that. So when you get enough people doing it, then it becomes that type of languages. But then the beast will have an infiltration. But the beast is not really scared about the new kind and stuff because it's not so much of turning his people on, and it's not getting the mass of the people because, you know, some people just can't understand it in the first place. You see what I'm saying? Like that. What's that, sister?
This is all very new.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. But I'm wondering, how do you tell the difference in a good spirit or a bad spirit? And how do you get it out of your house?
Okay, first of all, there's several things you can clean your house. There's several ways to clean your house, you know, through incense, through sweeping, based on also getting rum and spitting it out in four corners of the house, putting salt under the doors, black-eyed peas, throwing them everywhere, and burning a black candle, and nothing negative can also come in. One thing about good spirits and bad spirits, there is no way of detecting good spirits and bad spirits but only one way: to have a pure heart. You got to have enough sincerity in your heart that they can't penetrate. I have thousands of bad spirits around me as well as good spirits, but I never even encounter none of the bad spirits for the simple fact that I never encountered the bad spirits for the simple fact that they don't penetrate my vessel for the simple fact that I'm sincere, my sincerity. You see what I'm saying? So that's the thing also too, to be sincerity. I'm not in here for what you call it, self-grandizement and instant gratification and all that type of thing. Self-grandizement, I've had several opportunities to go on TV, had several opportunities to go to the white college campuses to give me more notoriety, and then from there I could take it to the point where as I would have to compromise the speech, and by compromising the speech I would have to literally, what I would have to literally do is basically I'd make a lot of money. I mean, the lecture, the sell out, but basically the lecture model for on the college campuses and big lecture models is anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000. So surely even what I'm doing now, I can be enough that I don't even have to beg for rent money. So my pursuing not having money is not necessarily that I don't have the talent to do it. It's just that there's certain ways you can compromise and stuff. And so basically you can also compromise. You can get past that by going to college campus and saying the powers that be, the evil forces, and then changing it. But even with me, I figured that the people, if it's one or two black people in the crowd, they need to know the damn truth. I would much rather for them to go to to get on the road and go to some place to their nearest black neighborhood bookstore or a black college or some other type thing where we can talk amongst ourselves, that I don't have to get up in there and say things that's going to hurt their chances because they the student body and they might not be able to get no money because they brought this man up in there that raised hell. It's just like they had the series of black speakers over at Georgia Tech in 1991, and it was fabulous. Dr. Ben, Maulana Karenga, John Henry Clark, but every last one of them came. Maulana Karenga kind of skated around and did the same thing for a little while. But Dr. Ben and John Henry Clark went in there and let them niggas have it. And this guy Oba Tashaki came up in there, and when he got through with them, man, he let them have it. And and John Henry Clark said, well, you know, the white race ain't nothing but a mutant race anyway. So he let them have it. And then John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben came in there and talked about how the Queen of England is actually a nigger, because he gave the black lineage from Queen Charlotte, that Charlotte, North Carolina is named after, which was a black woman. And Queen Elizabeth and all of them is direct descendants, close descendants from that, so they are niggers. And so and the white people got so mad and stuff. So they have never, Georgia Tech, and they had the greatest scholar network that doggone semester, the fall of 91. The spring of 92, that was unbelievable. But they've never been able to do it again because the ones up in there didn't compromise. So basically what it is your sincerity. Your sincerity. If you mean-spirited and all, and basically it's your ego. Only thing negative can hang is based on ego. Is based on ego. I really don't have that problem with a lot of negative spirits and all this kind of thing here.
What constitutes a negative spirit? Jumping on the bed in the middle of the night when you're trying to sleep, you know, just like now.
Oh, you've had that, you're saying. Mm-hmm. It might be you just probably need your house cleaned out. You probably need to, you know, like I said, you need to get you some black candles and stuff like that. And Sister Afrikiti probably knows certain ways to do certain amount of things. So that's probably what you just need. You just probably need a spiritual cleansing also too. You probably need a spiritual cleansing also. That's what it means.
Just clean your house out.
Yeah, but cleaning your house out is not necessarily physically cleaning your house. That is a part of it too. But it's also talking about, you know, burning incense, lighting a certain amount of candles and type stuff like that. What's that?
Get a reading and find out what it is.
Yeah, probably get a reading. This Sister Shakura, Shakura here, the one that was sitting here doing the channels, basically you can get in touch with her through AWO, and she can give you a reading and try to find out just exactly what that spirit is also. Somebody has some more. What's that, Sister?
Okay, I have a couple of questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
But my main question is, how would one kill the ego? Is that through the understanding the same way you would kill others?
Yeah, and also it's also once you cut out the desires of what you think that is important in this world, you would have no reason to feel you don't have you say What you say? One thing to do? Say goodbye to TV land when? Now? Okay, then, it's about to run out? Okay, so we're going to say goodbye to TV land, and we're going to continue with the question and answer. One way I would...
Say, man, can you spare any extra change? Downtown! Trying to get a cup of coffee. Downtown! Taxi! Get up!